Here we are. We've made it to session 13, the last week of this quarter, the summer of 2020, and we're in our second week in Song of Songs. So following up with what we had last week, and we finished looking at this book. Obviously, this is you spend 2 weeks in a book, you're not going to get all of it. We're going to hit a couple of things, and just wanted to look at a couple of things today from the passage out of chapter 5 of Song of Songs. A lot of people think that there is a transition that takes place as you get into chapter 5, where they start talking about them being married as opposed to courtship and all of that. It's still, remember, it's poetry. So it's a difficult thing to try to nail down anything solid out of it. And today we're looking at, the passage we'll look at will be the woman speaking, and then an answer from the young women in town, and then the woman responding back to the question that the young women have for her. So let's read this passage, starting at verse 6 of chapter 5. She says, "I opened to my love, but my love had turned and gone away. My heart sank because he had left. I sought him, but did not find him. I called him, but did not answer." There is a little bit of some mindfulness here of chapter 3 that we looked at last week, this searching for and not finding. Even in verse 7, the next verse talks about the guards and something happens here. So there is a thought here that this is a dream again, another dream sequence that she's having, where she's looking for her husband, trying to find him, wondering where he is, but he has moved. He's gone. He's turned and gone away. And she's brokenhearted. Her heart sank. And she sought him. She couldn't find him. She called him, but he didn't answer. Okay, we talked about how we're just kind of getting some principles of relationship or things like that, ideas about it. There is a feeling sense here, and you sense her loneliness. You sense her feeling abandoned, her feeling like, what's happened? Where's been the break in our relationship? Where has he gone? And her frustration with that, maybe, but also the sense of loss that she has. Look, we have to be very careful to value the relationship and to continue, as we talked about last week, not letting the little things happen. We have to be very careful to take care of the little things. And part of that is remaining connected to one another and doing the things that maintain that intimate connection with one another. It's extremely important that a couple maintain your connection. One of the things that we see happen is when you have kids and you both get caught up in work and in life that's happening, and kids are going in school and all of that. And sometimes even, because of the schedule that you have, the husband and wife don't tend to connect very much during that, what may be years of time as your kids are growing up and going through junior high and then high school, and they're so busy, they've got schedules that are just inundated with things, right? One after another, especially if you've got more than one of them at a time. The schedules can get really hectic, and you you end up finding that you spend more time with your kids and then with the activities you're doing and with work and other things than you do with one another. And then what happens when the kids leave and you end up with the empty nest? So often we see couples end up going through real relationship struggles and often even divorce because they haven't been building and working on their relationship with one another. They've been raising their family and taking care of their kids, and they've been so invested in the other parts of their lives that they have not invested time and effort in the marriage, in taking care of one another and staying connected to one another. So it's extremely important that you build in times in your week, in your day, when you are connecting with one another, when you're talking and visiting about things that don't necessarily have to do with your calendar and your schedule, but just on one another, and building that into your year, that there are times during the year, there are times during the month, there are times during the week, there are times during the day. As you break down each one of those where you stay connected, because it's so important that we not lose that connection to one another. And that's what her frustration is here. And so the young women, she says to them, "Young women of Jerusalem, I charge you, if you find my love, tell him that I am lovesick." This is her reaching out to others and saying, I want him. I am broken over this, and I love him. You know, boy, this is good, because I think shows there's not a give up here, right? It's hard, it's difficult, but I'm not going to give up. I love him, and I'm going to do everything I can to bring that back, to restore that relationship. I'm lovesick, I'm brokenhearted over this. So the young women respond back to her. What makes the one you love better than another, most beautiful of women? What makes him better than another, that you would give us this charge? You know, what's so special about him? What's so great about him that you want us to go find him? What makes him better than everybody else? You know, maybe you just need to find you another husband. Maybe he's, you know, he may not be worth it. I tell you, this is the world right here. You hear these kinds of things often. If you've been in any kind of relationship struggles, you've probably had people, maybe even people in church, say these kinds of things to you. Okay? But there is some part of it is you know, maybe it's an accusation against her, but maybe it's a call to her to say, hey, remember why? Do you remember why you loved him? Do you remember why you fell in love? You know, there was a reason that you decided to get married, right? There were lots of them, probably. Do you remember what those were? This kind of reminds us of Revelation, when he talks about the relationship that we have with God, and he says, go back to your first love. Go back to your first love. Remember that. We have to hang on to that with one another. Remember that first love. What makes him better? Well, then she goes on a long list, and she starts talking about all kinds of from his strength to his hair, and you know, his eyes, and all of these physical characteristics of him that she loves, the things about him that she is in love with, right? Ends with verse 15 and 16. His legs are alabaster pillars set on pedestals of pure gold. His presence is like Lebanon, as majestic as the cedars. Just his mere presence is powerful. His mouth is sweetness. He's absolutely desirable. She's wanting to kiss him, right? Oh, this is just gross, isn't it? This is my love, and this is my friend, young women of Jerusalem. So she names all of these physical characteristics that attracted her. You know, I don't know how you feel about alabaster pillar legs and feet of gold. I'm not sure, but you know, she's naming, these are the things about him that I love. But here's what I wanted to point out to us at the end of it. She says, this is my love. This is the one I've given my love to, right? And this is my friend. He's my friend. You know, that's why. That it's not the physical characteristics, because we know those are going to pass, right? We know those are going to fade, but he's my friend. That's my friend, and so that's why I love him. This is that cultivation of relationship that has to occur, where we are about more than just the outside, when we're about more than just what we get out of it. It is about ultimately, that's my best friend. You know, my wife is my best friend. She's the one I can talk to. She's the one that listens. She's the one who's loyal all the time. So that's why this is so important. This is my friend. You know, ultimately that's what will keep that marriage together, right? That's what saves it. And that's for all of us, okay? Remember why you fell in love. Remember the good things. Cultivate that relationship. Do the things that maintain that connection, that keep it strong, and be your friend. Be friends with one another, right? It's so important. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful to you as you study Song of Songs. Challenging book for us, for sure. Getting ready. Next week, we start the fall session of Explore the Bible, so looking forward to all the things that we're going to get to see there. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like, comment, let me know what you're thinking. We'll see you next time.